let me say this, John. The one thing that sped up Bobby's process, and this is what I was told from a source, what sped up the process to relieve Bobby of his duties. That's a better way of saying
That's a
fire.
better way to say it. That's more professional.
The thing that sped up Bobby being relieved from his duties from my source was the fact that quarterback coach Gerard Johnson is being looked at as offensive coordinator by different teams.
Yeah.
And the fact that Aaron Glenn got hired as the New York Jets coach and the relationship that those two have with each other, knowing that he could be, he could potentially get in Gerard's ear and convince him to leave CJ Stroud, somebody that he's been with since CJ was a teenager, somebody that he's known. CJ said during training camp, Gerard is one of the people who gave me the confidence to play the quarterback position. And so you don't, if you lose your offensive coordinator, you also don't want to lose that other voice. Now, I'm not saying that he has the job, but he's the top as far as internal is concerned. According to my source, he's the top candidate for that job. So the Houston Texans wanted to be one of the first teams to interview him to see if they can promote him and make him the offensive coordinator. But they're going to bring in other names, and I know we're going to talk about that a little bit more. But John, what was your first reaction when you found out that Bobby Slowik was relieved of his duty from the Houston Texans?
Well, my first reaction is, man, I just put this video up. but to break down the firing of Bobby Slowik from my point of view, and from a source I was told, the feeling around the building, was Bobby's inability to get away from his script.
Yeah,
we've specifically said on this show, and Brendan K. Scott of the Beat Block podcast, his script. And so when things started to break down, just his inability to get away from it, also citing his situational awareness. Now, this is one thing that I noticed early on. The sequencing in which he called plays really hurt the Houston Texans, and not being flexible, moving away from his system, which ultimately hindered CJ. When you have a quarterback like you have a quarterback in CJ Stroud, a player like Will Anderson, the foundational pieces we've talked about all week, that's always a conversation. But for the Houston Texans, in their 20-year period, rank their teams, rank the best. No matter who you have at number one, they've never got past the divisional round.
exactly.
This was probably their best opportunity to do so this year. And the expectations are higher.
Exactly.
You gotta make sure you have the right guy for the job. And unfortunately, that wasn't Bobby Slowik.